Greetings once again, and here we are in session 12. We're discussing the subjects in the chapters of my book, of course, How to Attract Money Using Mind Power. We are now at chapter 12. The subject of chapter 12 is environment. Start off with a couple of quotes here. Charles F. Hennell, in The Master Key System, published in 1917, he wrote, "Our environment reflects conditions corresponding to the predominant mental attitude which we entertain." Harriet Luella McCollum published in 1932 a book called What Makes a Master. In that book she wrote, "There are two classes of folks in this world, those who will be trained by environment and those who train environment." Your environment, basically, for our purposes of attracting money with mind power, you can consider your environment, quote unquote, simply that which you see and hear on a regular basis. And that includes things you hear on the television and the radio, things you read on the internet, people, your surroundings, whether they're, you're in a poverty-stricken area or you're around more wealth or affluence, the car you drive, the places you frequent. All of these things comprise your environment. Now, your environment reflects your consciousness because your consciousness creates your environment. It attracts to you and draws you to and leads you to conditions which correspond to the prevailing attitudes and substance and ingredients that make up your day-to-day thinking. So your thoughts, in a sense, create your environment. But the other way of looking at this is also true, and that is that your environment also profoundly affects your thoughts. The circumstances which you find yourself in, the things you see and hear on a regular basis, day to day, week to week, they mold and change your consciousness. Not only your financial consciousness or your money mindset, but of course your consciousness in general. So it's very important to create for yourself an environment which is conducive of great monetary gain, of attracting money, of being prosperous, of being and having abundance. You can approach the task from two angles. One angle is that you can change your consciousness so that it reflects back to you from the outer world a more conducive environment. And you can also directly, in a physical way, work on the physical environment. And then the stimulus reaching your conscious mind and thus your subconscious mind from your physical environment will be more conducive to a positive, prosperous state of mind. This is a concept which beginning students of mind power have a bit of a problem really comprehending. And I believe that part of the problem is that they see their environment as being outside of themselves. They think, okay, this is me, I am this, and that is that, meaning the environment, other people, buildings, whatever. I am here, and all of that is out there. The truth of the matter, from a higher spiritual perspective, is that there is no in here and out there. Consciousness and matter are one. In different states of expression, to be sure, but one and the same thing. The individual and the universe, again, one. Different expressions, different degrees of expression, perhaps, but one and the same. So, the idea that your environment profoundly affects your consciousness and your consciousness profoundly affects your environment is not that much of a stretch when you understand that you're a part of all you see. Quantum physics teaches us that the observer and the observed are not separate. And in quantum experiments, they have determined, through the experiments, that it is impossible to observe an experiment without having the observer in some way change the results. In other words, we are not just observing, we are creating through our observation. Because as we observe, we are thinking. Consciousness is moving, and consciousness always has some effect. So for the moment, until you get into it in the book and the different, exercises I have for you to do, just know and start to think and look around at your environment, what you're seeing and what you're hearing. Is it positive or is it negative? Is it conducive to a positive money mindset? Or is it negative to that goal? Do you think that your environment as a whole, because no one's environment is wholly positive or negative, it's a mixture, but as a whole, is your environment predominantly positive? Is it predominantly conducive to you and your efforts to attract large amounts of money? If it's not, you have to change it, and even if it is, you can improve it. Enough said on that subject for the moment, and we will see you in session, I forget the number. We're going to see you real soon, okay? Be prosperous.